Amateur Girl and Fanboy present the Big Bad Glass Movie Review.
Oh, everyone out there in internet land, you fine people, are so good to see you today. My name is E. I'm here to talk about this 3-hour biopic by Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer. The story of J. Robert Oppenheimer, and the creation of the bomb that was dropped on the poor Japanese. Now, I watched this film a few weeks ago. Much has been said. Many things have been reviewed about the movie, either good and bad. Some thought it's one of the great biopics of all time. Others thought it was just a 3-hour history lesson given to you by a bunch of professors that always telling you how stupid you are because you don't understand the movie. But for me, the most interesting part of this movie was Jean Tatlock. I thought she was the role of Jean Tatlock was beautifully played by Florence Pugh. It was her performance that made it so made her character was so sympathetic. She was the heart of the film because, and I'll explain this, because she was the Oppenheimer's main love interest, even though he was married to another woman, and the strange occurrences of her death. Now, Jane Frances Tatlock was an American scientist, but she also was a member of the Communist Party in the Bay Area of San Francisco. Then she, strangely enough, is Oppenheimer's lover. Now, Oppenheimer, he dabbled in communism himself. And Tatlock had clinical depression and was treated over time at Mount Zion there in San Francisco. But around 1 p.m. on January 5th, 1944, at the 1405 Montgomery Street, she evidently killed herself. Now, her father came to her apartment to see how she was because she wouldn't answer the phone, and he had to climb through the window, and there he found his poor daughter dead, lying on a pile of cushions in the bathroom, with her head submerged in a partly filled bathtub. There was an unsigned suicide note, and it said at the beginning that she was disgusted with everything. Now, what was she disgusted with? I believe, and this is my own personal opinion, that Robert Oppenheimer had been talking to her about the destructive capabilities of the bomb, and it frightened her and made her depressed. And I can see how that would happen. Just the thought of it depresses me at this moment. That someone could create such a thing. I believe that Oppenheimer was morally corrupt, along with most of the other people who were involved with building the bomb. Now, I understand their motivations and their reasons behind it. They tried to save millions of people from a horrifying invasion of Japan. So that can be that's all still very controversial. But the thing about Jean Tatlock, I think that she was a very sensitive person, and that this whole thing was a burden on her soul. And she even says at the end of her letter, "At least I could take away the burden of a paralyzed soul from a fighting world." So I think that the information she probably got from her lover, Oppenheimer, was just too much for the poor lady, and she took it to her grave. Now, if that was the case, that it was a suicide, that would be a motivation. But if she was murdered, as Christopher Nolan likes to imply, then again, you can see the motivations of the government. There's a known communist fraternizing in an intimate way with the chief scientist of the Trinity Project, the chief scientist of the bomb. The poor lady was the horrors of this world. So I can see the motivations of the government to assassinate her. This whole assassination conspiracy thing came up again later in the 70s during the Church Committee, where they said the NSA and the CIA had committed many assassinations throughout the world. So no one really knows Will we ever know what happened to poor Jean? We don't know. Evidently, her father burnt many of her documents and her letters. So there's a lot of things, a lot of mysteries surrounding her death. And he was, and she's the reason mostly that Oppenheimer lost his security clearance later in life, which a good part of the movie surrounds the investigation of his communist background. Anyway, if you have not seen the movie yet, then you know what to watch for about the story of Jean Tatlock inside the movie. If you have seen the movie, well, gives you something to once again think about. In conclusion, I just wanted to say the world is still being held hostage by these vain and superficial men who invented these terrible weapons of destruction. And it seems the earth may be doomed because of it. Think about it. That is all from E here. And I hope maybe one day I'll step in again to review another movie. Bye.